Oh, my dear brother, oh, my dear sister, have you ever felt it? That strange silence when you walk into a room, that unspoken tension in the air, the way people pause, just for a moment, as if they sense something different about you. They don't say it, but they feel it. Some admire you for it. Some are drawn to your presence, as if they recognize something within you that even you cannot see. And some cannot stand you because of it. You see, when Allah Azza wa Jal places sincerity, wisdom, and resilience in a heart, it does not go unnoticed. It is felt, even by those who do not understand it, even by those who wish to deny it. And that is why you have seen it, haven't you? People either love you or despise you without reason. You attract those who seek the truth, and you repel those who are drowning in falsehood. But do not be deceived. This is not a coincidence. This is not random. There is something inside you, something placed by Allah. And before you question why people behave this way around you, let me show you the 7 undeniable signs that you are not like everyone else. People test you without reason. You walk this path alone, wondering why the world seems to turn against you. Why does it feel as if people are waiting for you to stumble, waiting for you to fail? They watch you in silence, yet their eyes speak louder than words. They challenge your patience, question your sincerity, and push you to the edge, hoping to break you. But have you ever asked yourself, why? Why do people who barely know you, who have never walked in your shoes, feel the need to test you? Why does their doubt surround you like a shadow? You try to be kind, yet they say you are weak. You speak the truth, yet they call you arrogant. You remain silent, and they accuse you of hiding something. Do you think this is a coincidence? No, my dear brother. No, my dear sister. This is the way of the righteous. This is the path of those whom Allah has chosen. The Prophet was tested before revelation. Look at the life of the one who was most beloved to Allah, Rasulullah. Before the revelation, the people of Makkah already knew that he was different. They called him As-Sadiq, Al-Amin, the truthful, the trustworthy. Yet when Allah chose him for a mission greater than all of mankind, the same people who once honored him turned against him. They mocked him, slandered him, tested his patience in the cruelest of ways. They threw filth upon him as he prayed. They insulted him in the streets. They forced him into exile, starving him and his followers for years. And yet, did he break? Did he give up? No. Because he knew that the tests of this world are nothing compared to the reward that awaits in the next. Allah tests the ones He loves. وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّا الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. Do people think that they will be left to say, "We believe," and they will not be tested? But we certainly tested those before them, and Allah will surely make evident those who are truthful and those who are liars. Surat Al-Ankabut 29, 2-3. Do you understand now? This is not about them. It is not about their insults, their jealousy, or their doubts. It is about you and what is inside your heart. Will you allow their words to shake your faith? Will you let their tests break your connection with Allah? Or will you stand firm, like the Prophet stood firm? Will you remember that when people test you, they are unknowingly playing a role in your elevation? That each insult, each hardship, each moment of injustice is not a sign of your weakness, but a sign of Allah's love for you. For the ones who are never tested, Those are the ones Allah has left alone. And what is more terrifying than to be left alone by Allah? So be patient, my dear brother. Be steadfast, my dear sister. And remember, when the world tests you, it is only because Allah has chosen you. People underestimate you until they realize your strength. They look at you and assume they know your worth. They think they have measured you, weighed your value, and decided that you are insignificant. They see your silence and mistake it for weakness. They see your patience and assume you lack power. They see your kindness and believe you are naive. But do they truly know who you are? They dismiss you, laugh at your dreams, and doubt your ability. They speak to you as if you are small, unworthy of greatness. And you remain quiet, not because you do not feel the sting of their words, but because you understand something they do not. You do not need to prove yourself to them. Your strength is not for their approval. The Prophet was mocked and underestimated. Have you forgotten what they said about Muhammad? When he came with the message of Islam, the Quraysh mocked him. They said, "What is this man, eating food like us and walking in the markets? If he were truly sent by Allah, he would be accompanied by angels." Surah Al-Furqan 25:7. They insulted him. They called him a madman. They said he was a poet, a sorcerer, and a liar. They saw only a man, not realizing that he was the greatest man to ever walk this earth. Yet what did he do? Did he argue to prove his worth? Did he lower himself to gain their respect? No. He remained steadfast. He continued his mission. He walked through their insults, their rejection, their arrogance, with dignity. And in the end, the very people who mocked him had to bow before the truth of Islam. Because strength is not found in shouting louder. Strength is found in patience. True strength is in steadfastness. وَلَا تَهِنُوا وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. Do not lose heart or grieve, for you will be superior if you are true believers. Surah Al-Imran 3:139. Do you understand now? People will underestimate you. They will laugh at your goals. They will doubt your faith, your choices, your sincerity. But what they think of you does not matter. What matters is whether you remain firm or allow their words to break you. They do not see your late-night prayers. They do not hear the whispered du'as from your broken heart. They do not know the strength it takes to keep trusting Allah when everything seems against you. But Allah sees. And one day, those same people who dismissed you will witness what Allah has written for you. Not because you sought their approval, but because you remained patient and let Allah raise you. People copy you, even if they don't admit it. They mock you. They question you. They say you are too extreme, too different, too serious. Why do you always talk about Allah? Why do you avoid certain gatherings? Why do you care so much about halal and haram? They laugh when you wake up for Fajr while they sleep. They criticize your modesty. They frown upon your discipline. They say, "You are too strict. You will never enjoy life this way." But time passes, and slowly they begin to change. They start using the words you use. They begin to admire your peace. They ask about the prayer you never abandoned. The same people who mocked you now seek your guidance. But will they ever admit it? The Prophet faced opposition, yet they followed him. Look at Muhammad. When he stood on Mount Safa and called his people to Islam, they rejected him. They insulted him. They said, "He is just a poet, a magician, a madman." Yet the same people who opposed him in the beginning, who said Islam would never spread, many of them became its strongest followers. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu once swore he would kill the Prophet. He was among the fiercest enemies of Islam. But when he saw the truth, when he saw the strength of the Prophet and the beauty of this deen, he became one of the greatest leaders of Islam. Did the Prophet change to gain their approval? Did he compromise his values to make them accept him? No. He remained firm. He stayed true to the mission of Allah. And in the end, they followed him, not because he begged for their acceptance, but because the truth cannot be ignored. A sincere heart. Influences, even in silence, وَقُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَزَهَقَ الْبَاطِلُ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَهُوقًا, and say, the truth has come and falsehood has perished. Indeed, falsehood is bound to perish. Surah Al-Isra, 1781. Do you see it now? People criticize what they do not understand. They mock what makes them uncomfortable. But deep down, they see something in you that they cannot ignore. Do not be shaken by their words. Do not change yourself for their approval. Because the day will come when the same people who doubted you will begin to follow in your footsteps. And they may never admit it. They may never say, "You were right," but you will see it in their speech, in their actions, in the way they begin to seek what you sought all along. Because sincerity speaks louder than words, and the heart that is connected to Allah will always be a light, whether others acknowledge it or not. People feel uncomfortable around you, even when you've done no wrong. You enter a room, and the atmosphere changes. Conversations shift, laughter fades, and some avoid your gaze. You have done nothing. You have said nothing. Yet somehow, your presence makes them uneasy. They do not greet you the same way they greet others. They do not include you in their gatherings. And in the silence, you begin to wonder, what have I done? But the truth is, you have done nothing. It is not you they are uncomfortable with. It is the light of Ima'an that Allah has placed in you. The light of Ima'an exposes the void in others, an-nuru yakshifu dhulmat. Light exposes darkness. When a person carries sincerity, discipline, and faith, it highlights what is missing in others. It reminds them of what they have neglected, of the choices they have made, of the whispers of shaitan they have followed. Your presence alone becomes a silent mirror, and some people cannot bear to look at themselves. This is why the Prophet said, بدأ الإسلام غريبا وسيعود كما بدأ غريبا فطوبى للغرباء. Islam began as something strange, and it will return to being strange. So glad tidings to the strangers. Sahih Muslim 145. If you feel like an outsider, if people look at you as if you do not belong, perhaps it is because Allah has chosen you to walk a path most fear to take. The Prophet's presence alone unsettled the disbelievers. Have you forgotten how the Quraysh reacted to the Prophet? They called him a liar, not because he had ever lied, but because his truth was too powerful. They accused him of sorcery, not because he cast spells, but because his words transformed hearts. They plotted against him, not because he harmed them, but because his very existence was a threat to their falsehood. When he entered the Kaaba, the idols stood tall, yet their worshippers felt weak. When he recited the words of Allah, their arrogance collapsed, yet they refused to admit it. Why do they avoid you? Allah says in the Quran, إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا لَا يَتَنَاهَوْنَ عَنْ مُنْكَرٍ فَعَلُوهُ لَبِئْسَ مَا كَانُوا يَفْعَلُونَ. They did not stop one another from wrongdoing. How evil was what they used to do. Surah Al-Ma'idah 579. Some people avoid you because your presence makes them confront a truth they would rather ignore. They are comfortable in their heedlessness, in their distractions, in the illusions of this world. But you remind them that this life is temporary. They feel uneasy, not because you have changed, but because you have remained firm while they have drifted. So do not lower your light to make them comfortable in their darkness. Do not silence your truth to make them feel at ease in their falsehood. Because one day, the same people who avoided you may come searching for what you have held onto all along. You face more tests because Allah is preparing you for something greater. Have you ever felt like life is unfair? Like every time you try to move forward, another trial pulls you back? You see people around you enjoying ease while you struggle, falling to your knees with burdens too heavy to carry. You wonder, why me? Why is it that every step toward goodness is met with obstacles? Why does it feel like the world is against you when all you want is peace? But what if I told you that these struggles are not a punishment? That the pain you endure is not because Allah has abandoned you, but because He is preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. Hardships indicate Allah's special plan for a believer. Allah does not test those He does not care about. The more valuable something is, the more it is refined. Gold is purified by fire. Diamonds are formed under immense pressure. And the believers, they are shaped by their trials. أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ وَلَمَّا يَأْتِكُمْ مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ خَلَوْا مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ مَسَّتْهُمُ الْبَأْسَاءُ وَالضَّرَاءُ وَزُلْزِلُوا حَتَّى يَقُولَ للرسول والذين آمنوا معه متى نصر لله ألا إن نصر لله قريب. Do you think you will enter paradise without facing trials like those before you? They were afflicted with suffering and hardship, and were so shaken that even the messenger and the believers with him cried, "When will Allah's help come?" Unquestionably, the help of Allah is near. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:214. If you are facing hardship after hardship, it is because Allah is preparing you for something beyond what you can see. The Prophet and the righteous were tested before achieving greatness. Look at those who were most beloved to Allah. They suffered the most. The Prophet Ayub alayhi salam lost everything: his wealth, his health, his children. Yet he remained patient. The Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was thrown into a well by his own brothers, imprisoned for years for a crime he did not commit. The Prophet Musa alayhi salam was abandoned as a baby, raised in the house of a tyrant, and tested by his people. And then there is Muhammad, the best of all creation. He buried 6 of his 7 children with his own hands. He was boycotted, starved, mocked, and exiled. He was wounded in battle, betrayed by those he trusted, and yet, he never broke. Did Allah abandon them? Did their pain mean they were forgotten? No, because their suffering was not a punishment. It was their path to greatness. Patience and reliance on Allah are the keys to strength. Allah is not punishing you. He is building you. Every tear you shed, every hardship you endure, every silent dua you whisper in the darkness, it is not wasted. Allah sees you. He hears you. And He is preparing something for you that is beyond your imagination. وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَبَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. Give glad tidings to those who are patient, those who, when afflicted with hardship, say, "Indeed, we belong to Allah, and to Him we will return." Surah Al-Baqarah 2, 155-156. So do not break, do not give up. Because what is coming for you is greater than what was taken. And when you finally see it, you will understand. Every tear, every struggle, every painful moment was worth it. My dear brother, my dear sister, do you see it now? Every trial, every rejection, every moment of loneliness, it was never random. It was Allah shaping you, refining you, preparing you for something greater. You were never meant to blend in. You were never meant to follow the crowd. Your path was always different because Allah chose you for something others cannot comprehend. So stand firm, walk with purpose, hold on to the truth, even when the world turns against you. Because in the end, only Allah's approval matters. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, wallahu akbar.